everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you haven't been here before, my name is Debbie and I read a lot of books. Today's book is Paradise Valley, book 4 in the Cassie Duell stories by C.J. Fox. Oh my god, I just love these stories so much. Alright, I was just going to get straight in that there for you, okay? He's the Lizard King, a serial killer who haunts North America's highways and truck stops, preying on runaways and prostitutes. After years on the road, he's tired. The net is closing around him. It's time to end it. For 3 years, Chief Investigator Cassandra Cassie Duell has been hunting the Lizard King. Twice she has come close to taking him, but this time she surely has him. Trap is set and baited. What happened next will cost 3 policemen their lives and Cassie her job, but she can't give up the hunt. She refuses to believe that the charred body they pulled from the flames is the Lizard King's. Tracking 2 missing 14-year-old boys, Cassie alone takes to the road, a road from which quite possibly there is no return. A road that ends in Paradise Valley. Oh my goodness, oh my goodness, oh my goodness, it makes me want to watch the series again. There are elements of this story that feel like they made it into season 2 of the TV series. This is very much a comparison to the TV series, considering the fact that I watched that first. And I'm starting to see more of why things got changed for the TV series. This is the book when Cassie goes out by herself, bringing in kind of like the private eye side, which I think is possibly where the next book is going to go, because when a trap goes wrong, she becomes the scapegoat and she gets fired for something that wasn't entirely her fault. They started setting this trap in the last book of trying to bring the Lizard King out of the shadows. Cassie started putting up notes on notice boards across truck stops to try and bring out Ronald, because they know that he's working independently now, and so he doesn't actually work for an actual company. And so Cassie makes these fake jobs to try to lure Ronald out, and she has like this burner phone so that people can call her regarding this job, and then she uses her knowledge of Ronald to figure out if it is Ronald, if she needs to pretend that this job doesn't exist anymore. So she has this trap for him. But also you're still seeing Ronald's point of view, and you realise that he is onto her, and what she didn't think about is the fact that he may have seen these notices a lot and realised that it's the same job being advertised every single time. That leads to the big event that's mentioned in the blurb, where he convinces everybody that he has taken this job and put somebody else in the driving seat, and causes an explosion. So that's the point where they're just like, is the Lizard King dead? Cassie's not sure if it's true. Unfortunately, in that process, officers got killed. Cassie's fiance got killed, and she is fired from her job because it's thought that this was fully her idea and it's her fault that it went wrong, when actually her bosses signed off on it. And it was a case of something happened that none of them could have foreseen. So yeah, there's a couple of people that lose their jobs because of this event going wrong, and that means that Cassie then goes on to do stuff by herself, leaning into that private eye type situation, where she's not actually a private eye, but she is collecting stuff to send to the police because she wants to get this all sorted and done and dusted, because she's been hunting him for 4 years at this point across the 4 books. So she's determined to find Ronald. Another storyline going through is that there's Kyle from the previous book takes a friend and kind of runs away from home, and basically he wants to see the world. He's been inspired by stories of presidents and has decided he wants to go out on a boat and ride the rivers and see the world. Unfortunately, they go missing whilst out on this boat trip, and Kyle's grandmother tries to report Kyle and his friend missing, but she sent to the back of the queue because the day they went missing is the day that the explosion happened, the day that they thought that the Lizard King died. And so yeah, you've got just this full combination of all these different things happening on the same day and seeing what the police take precedent. So yeah, it's really frustrating at times, because you're just like, the people in charge and the people who should be going out and helping people are too concerned about losing some of their own to the point where it's affecting their ability to actually do their jobs. So it's just like, yes, it is important to look out for your own, and obviously in this case find the person responsible for those deaths. In that process, they lose Cassie, they lose another police officer who Cassie was kind of using as a source while she was doing her private eye side. So when Cassie realises all these other things happened on the same day, she's just like, who's investigating this? Is anybody investigating this? Do I need to sort this out? Do I need to find out what happened to Kyle and his friend, and also find out about this other woman that went missing on the same day? Why is nobody realising there may be a connection here? So Cassie goes off on her own, trying to sort everything out, trying to figure out what happened to Kyle and his friend, and soon realises that Ronald isn't actually dead. Which leads on to the rest of the story, where you're seeing points of view of Ronald with his new family, where he's got 2 women and the 2 boys. There were certain points as I was reading it and it was just like, no. Especially when you were seeing Kyle and Raheem, I think it is, his friend that he takes out on the boat, when you realise they've stumbled upon where Ronald is holding people, and you're just like, no, don't get off the boat. I felt so invested, and also knowing the kids who played certain roles in the second season of Big Sky, I had images of those kids, of the actors, as I was reading the book. They had become part of the film that was appearing in my head as I was reading it, so I got so invested. It was just like, no, not Kyle. Like, we've saw his point of view throughout the majority of the last book, and you're just there thinking, no, he, after what he'd already been through in losing his mum and losing the guy who was almost a dad but not to him, and just everything that he has witnessed, you're just like, seriously, after all of that, this has to happen to him as well. But it also feels very reminiscent of the first 2 books, when you first met Danielle and Gracie, and then how everything that they went through in the first book, and then how that went into the second book, and when they were kidnapped. It was just like, it feels like quite a common thing for CJ Box to do. Just as you think they're out of it, he plunges them into something else completely different in the next book, and it's just like, it's like he's traumatising them. And he's traumatising the reader in the process. Yeah, it's just so good, and seeing that characterisation of Ronald, and just how disgusted you are with him, with the things that he is doing. But the thing is, there's also a point in this book when you almost feel sorry for Ronald, because you become aware of what he witnessed as a child. Kind of like the idea that hurt people. Something happened in his life that made him the way he is. And it's just one of those things where just like, if he had gotten help, would he have gone down this route? Obviously, it's a book, but, it's all fiction, but it's that same thing of just like, hurt people. So, yeah, seeing it all like come together. And obviously the story's not over, because there's still like 2 more books. It's on my phone. I've got a complete list of all the books in order, so I know what I'm doing. The next one is The Bitter Root, which I've got on audio book, and then I think I've got the last one on Kindle. Yeah, The Treasure State. Oh, just Treasure State. So yeah, it's those 2 that I've got left. And yeah, I think, have I even shown you the front cover of this yet? The tagline on the front of the book is, "This is the end of the road." And it feels very fitting for where this book ends. And the fact is, I adore Cassie. She is a woman who stands up for what she believes in. She's a single mother. She's doing her best for her son, Ben. And she's also got her mother in there as well. And yeah, she's just such a really good person to see this book and journey through. She's empowering, and I just really like how her story is told through this mystery, and her finding out what happened to the people who've been affected by the Lizard King, and the love and the friendships that she has, and the fact that there's still reference to Cody, and how Cody is not with us anymore, because in the first book he's killed by Ronald's partner in crime. But yeah, just going through and seeing all that Cassie is doing to bring Ronald out of hiding, and figure out what has happened to the boys, what has happened to the women that have gone missing, and the way she is able to connect the dots when other people aren't. So yeah, I just think it's absolutely fascinating, and I love reading a good mystery. I am also the kind of person that can do complete deep dives onto Wikipedia looking at real life cases, and I don't know why I find it fascinating, but I do. But yeah, so that's Paradise Valley by CJ Box. It's not getting boring. I still find it incredibly entertaining, even though we are still following kind of the same storyline going into book 4, but it does feel like that book 5 will be the turn that this series needs, because I think if it was extended to another book, it might be a bit too much. It's also kind of fascinating to see how elements of some of the stories were brought into the TV series without being a carbon copy of the stories, because I know that there's elements of this book that made it into season 2, even though season 2 completely flipped the story on its head, because in season 2, Ronald has a girlfriend and he has been kidnapped by the police officer's twin brother. I think they just liked the actor and they wanted to bring him back, and to be fair, I've seen that actor play quite a few baddies over the years, including a killer clown. So when he was outed as the baddie at the end of episode 1 of the first season, it was just like, I could see this coming a mile away. I think anybody else who had seen that actor as the killer clown were probably just thinking, is he going against type, or is he playing a baddie again? And he was playing a baddie again. But yeah, I think they just love that actor so much that they brought him back and gave him a twin brother, which is not alluded to at all in the books, where the twin brother is a dog trainer, and he uses shock collars to train them. He ends up putting those shock collars on Ronald and his girlfriend to train them, but this book has Ronald using dog shock collars on people. So I can see elements of how certain parts of the books were transferred and the way they used that and made something new, which, yeah, does that make any sense? But yeah, I just found it interesting when I was reading it. I was just thinking, oh, so that's where they got that idea from for the second season. Because the TV series is only 3 seasons, and it's basically covered most of what has happened going into book 4, even though the TV series changed a lot in regards to the fact that in this it makes Ronald out to be sexually motivated, and also in this book almost family motivated, whereas in the TV series Ronald doesn't have that motive, and it actually comes back to Legarski, his criminal partner, and going down the trafficking. It's just, yeah, it is kind of fascinating to see how the book was adapted and how that became what the television series became. I'm just going on and on and on. CJ Box, Paradise Valley. This is book 4 in Cassie Duel, and I'm very intrigued to see where the next 2 books go, because it feels like we're now going into the point when Cassie is quite possibly going to go the Private Eye route, which leans into what the television series became. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you next time with another video. Stay safe, everybody.